So this is the exact system to launch a brand new channel in any niche. This works for any channel, any niche, at any time. I've used this system on my own channel, and me and my partners have worked with a bunch of different clients, and we've used it with them too, and it works amazing. So what is the system? So I call it the missile method. And this is basically the key to instantly finding success on YouTube. And basically how it works is you want to enter into a niche with the precision and the impact of a missile. So let me expand on that further. So when you enter into a new niche, there is a certain level of quality that you need to hit to kind of surpass expectations and create a good enough viewer experience that it sticks out compared to all the other videos in that specific niche. And that is the missile method, creating a video that is good enough to create that sort of impact. So let's go through a couple examples, right? So each of these videos right here were missiles for these specific channels. They were able to enter into a new niche, the first video on the channel, and create impact to where it got millions and millions of views on the first video. So how did they do this? So let's go through the step-by-step system, and the basic premise is to spot gaps in the market. Now, how do you do this? Well, the first major thing is researching your niche. Now, everyone always yaps about research your niche, look at your competitors, but I'm talking really in-depth analysis. This shouldn't take an hour, a day, even a week. This should be multiple weeks, if not months, of hardcore research, really analyzing the niche, the channels, and who the viewers even are. The way I like to start this myself is to find the top channels and study everything. So I normally create a Notion doc, you could do a Google doc, and I go through and write down everything that sticks out to me compared to the average YouTube channel, right? So with me, it's a bit easier because I have experience launching a couple channels. If you're doing this for the first time, really write out anything that sticks out to you in terms of, oh, their thumbnails are really good because of this, or they do this specific thumbnail style, or their designers are doing all the thumbnails are a realism style, or they're all animated and hand-drawn. You know, the backgrounds, they use specific colors, they're using specific emotions. You really want to go as in-depth as possible and really break down the specific things that the niche is doing. Right? You want to really understand the niche. And this will come really useful later on, but the core thing here is to really just write down everything that sticks out in the niche. So, you know, unique branding, transformations, simple backgrounds, humor in the videos, how do they do their transitions, right? Bright colors and thumbnails, all that good stuff. You really go in depth and understand it. I also suggest going on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and you can create a new channel, right? If you click switch account and you go to view all channels, you can create a new channel here. And I like to create individual channels for each niche I'm trying to research. Because what happens is you can subscribe to all the top channels in the niche, and then the algorithm will serve you all the content that a typical viewer would see if they enjoyed that specific niche. Let's say you're a hockey fan. You would, subscribe to all the top hockey channels, and you would get the viewer experience of what specific videos are doing well in the hockey space, what content's doing well, what thumbnails work well, all that jazz. So the next step is spotting opportunities. So what are some missing markets or some content supply that's missing? So let's go into two specific examples. I'm in the YouTube advice, YouTube strategy space, so I've seen a lot of channels, so I've done a lot of research in that specific niche. And these are two channels that have stuck out to me as being very unique and really taking advantage of the gaps in the market. The first is, her channel was called Theory of One. I think she just changed it to her name, Erica Malott. And she has been able to really stand out in a very crowded niche. Now, the way she was able to do this was through her delivery of content, the way she packaged her videos, and then also the sort of very raw, minimalist style and direction that she came at it from. Everyone really focuses on hyper optimization, $1,000 edits, going crazy, and and her content is just her in front of a counter talking to a camera in very simple style. Really focused on delivering the core value and not grandizing the videos for a specific sort of vibe you're trying to hit. Same with Oren. So he did something else, so we'll get into that later. We'll get that into right after, but he does something really unique that makes him stand out. There are four main categories for spotting opportunities in a niche. So the first example is bigger market. Now, a creator that's done this really well is Callaway. And what you want to do for this is you want to find your market and then go for the broader market, the broader audience, if there is a broader audience. So for Callaway, what he did is the educational space when it comes to social media and content was very confined to YouTube specifically. And he was able to create a broader market by targeting content across social media. So TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. So instead of specifically hyper-focusing on one niche, he attacked it from more of a broad content strategy perspective of when you're making short-form content, the ideas and the hooks on that short form content works across all types of social media content, not just YouTube. And this was something no one else was doing, so it made him really stick out. Now, the next one is smaller markets, and this is what Oren does. YouTube, the strategy, the content market is very hyper-focused to YouTube specifically when it comes to YouTube content. And he was able to really stick out and leverage the gap in the market by attacking it from more of an artist, creative director, personal brand perspective. And so niching down made him stand out more and kind of take advantage of that gap in the market. Next, we have a different style. Now, this is something I actually did with my channel that I think is one of the major reasons why it just did so well compared to all the other channels I've launched which have just completely flopped. And the main thing I did here was spotting the gap when it comes to the market of anime, but then also targeting casual audience. So a lot of the people in the anime space back then when I was doing market research were super fans talking to a camera, just yapping about anime, manga, super in-depth, specific stuff that only super fans would really watch. Nobody was making content for the broader casual audience. So I came in here attacking a market that was really underdeveloped 4 or 5 years ago, also introducing a new format of really dumbing down the information so that it hit a more casual audience, and then also introducing a listicle format that had really never been done before. And all of that combined created this really unique style that targeted a gap in the market that no one was giving content to. Now, the final one is mixing markets. Now, I don't really recommend this one, but it is useful for some personalities. So this is typically the personality angle where you are able to really cut between different markets. So we have this guy I've been watching recently called Rantoni, and he's able to do this where he can target different markets and do quite well in all of them. So you have gaming content, you have challenges, you have news. So basically being able to either mix these markets or target all of them at the same time makes you stand out and makes you really unique. Strategy works really well if you're trying to develop more of a personality channel. Now, once you have the niche research down, and you've been able to spot and abuse the gap in the market, the last main step is the checklist method. Now, before you post your first video that's a missile into the niche, it hits the niche like a missile, right? It's got to be such a better quality abusing a gap in the market to the point where people have to watch it. You have every niche has a certain level of quality, and if you are able to create a video that just beats that level of quality in that niche by a little bit, it makes your video really stand out. And that's the whole principle of the missile method, right? And this last step to make sure that your video does this is called the checklist method. Now, your first video needs to check, normally I tell people that you want your first video to check at least 2 of these boxes. You want to have either need a better idea, better packaging, better editing, better storytelling, or a better style than everyone else in the niche. And if you can hit 2 of those, combined with researching really well, and then also having a great gap in the market, this really improves your chances of really getting into that niche and being like a missile into the niche and really exploding.